What if I told you that the most powerful people in the room are the ones you never notice? Sounds crazy, right? We are taught to be loud. We are told to take up space. We are trained to chase success like hungry wolves. But what if that entire approach is backward? There is a Japanese concept called Omoiyari. Most people translate it as empathy or compassion, but that translation is weak. It misses the point completely. Omoiyari is not about feeling sorry for someone. It is not about being nice or polite. It is a weapon, a strategy, a way to win without fighting. Think about this for a second. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They make things easier for others. Steve Jobs did not just build phones. He removed confusion from technology. Elon Musk is not just making cars. He is solving the problem before you even ask the question. That is Omoiyari in action. That is anticipatory intelligence. The West tells you to be selfish to succeed. Omoiyari tells you the opposite. When you stop thinking about yourself and start removing problems for others, you become irreplaceable. You become the person everyone needs. You become invisible but essential. Today, I am going to show you 3 frameworks that will change how you see success. First, we will talk about the UX of life and how anticipatory intelligence makes you unstoppable. Second, we will explore invisible leadership and why being loud is actually making you weak. Third, we will discuss egoless productivity and how removing yourself from the equation actually makes you more successful. And if you stay until the end, I will give you a simple daily practice that takes less than 5 minutes but will rewire how people see you. Trust me, this one habit alone will change your relationships, your career, and your entire life. So let us start with the first framework, the one that separates average people from those who seem to read minds. Let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone who just gets it? Someone who hands you water before you say you are thirsty? Someone who solves your problem before you even mention it? That person is not psychic. They are practicing anticipatory intelligence. And once you learn this skill, you will never be ignored again. Here is the difference. Empathy means you feel what someone else feels. That is nice. That is human. But it is passive. Anticipatory intelligence is active. It means you see the problem coming and you fix it before it becomes a problem. You do not wait for someone to ask. You do not wait for someone to complain. You move first. Let me give you an example. Imagine you walk into a Japanese hotel. You check in at the front desk. The staff smiles and hands you your room key. You go to your room. When you open the door, the temperature is already perfect. The curtains are drawn just right. There is a small note welcoming you by name. Your favorite type of tea is waiting on the table. You did not ask for any of this, but someone knew. Someone anticipated. That is Omoiyari. That is anticipatory intelligence. Now compare that to most hotels. You walk in, the room is too cold or too hot. You have to call the front desk. You have to wait. You have to explain. You have to fix their mistake. That is friction. That is the opposite of Omoiyari. And friction kills success. Here is the secret that nobody talks about. Success is not about being the smartest or the loudest. Success is about removing friction. When you make someone's life easier, they remember you. When you solve their problem before they say it out loud, you become valuable. And value is the only currency that matters. Think about your own life. Who do you trust the most? Who do you want to work with? It is the person who makes things smooth. The friend who brings your favorite snack without being asked. The coworker who sends you the file before the meeting starts. The boss who knows you are stressed and gives you space before you burn out. These people are not lucky. They are trained. They are watching. They are practicing anticipatory intelligence. So how do you develop this skill? It starts with observation. Most people walk through life half asleep. They are stuck in their own heads. They are thinking about their problems, their stress, their goals. But anticipatory intelligence requires you to look outward. You have to watch people. You have to notice patterns. You have to ask yourself one question over and over again. What does this person need right now? Let me break it down into steps. Step 1 is attention. You have to actually pay attention to the people around you. Not fake attention, real attention. Watch their body language, listen to their tone, notice when they are tired or frustrated or confused. Most people miss these signals because they are too busy thinking about themselves. Step 2 is prediction. Once you notice the pattern, you predict the need. If your coworker always forgets their charger, you bring an extra one. If your friend always orders the same coffee, you grab it for them without asking. If your client always asks the same question in meetings, you prepare the answer in advance. You are not being a mind reader, you are being observant. Step 3 is action. This is where most people fail. They see the need, but they do not act. They think someone else will handle it, or they wait to be asked. But waiting kills the magic. Anticipatory intelligence only works when you move first. You do not announce it. You do not brag about it. You just do it, quietly, smoothly, like it was always supposed to happen that way. Here is what happens when you practice this. People start to trust you. They start to rely on you. They start to think of you as essential. And here is the best part. You are not working harder. You are working smarter. You are not doing extra tasks. You are doing the right tasks at the right time. That is efficiency. That is strategy. Now let me tell you why this is a game changer in your career. Imagine you are in a meeting. Everyone is talking. Everyone is pitching ideas. Everyone is trying to be heard. But you stay quiet. You watch. You listen. You notice that your boss is frustrated because the data is messy. So after the meeting, you clean up the data and send it to them. You do not ask for credit. You do not send a long email explaining what you did. You just fix the problem. What happens next? Your boss remembers. Not because you were loud, not because you demanded attention, but because you made their life easier. And the next time there is a promotion or a big project, who do you think they will choose? The person who talks a lot, or the person who solves problems before they explode? This is the unfair advantage of anticipatory intelligence. You become the person people cannot live without. You are not competing with everyone else. You are playing a different game, a higher game, a game where you win by making others win first. So here is your challenge. For the next 7 days, practice anticipatory intelligence with one person. It could be your boss, your coworker, your partner, or your friend. Watch them closely. Predict one need, and act on it before they ask. Do not tell them you are doing it. Just do it, and watch what happens. Watch how they look at you differently. Watch how your relationship changes. That is the power of Omoiyari in action. Now let me ask you another question. Who has more power? The king who sits on a throne and shouts orders, or the advisor who whispers in his ear and shapes every decision? Most people think the king has power, but the real power belongs to the invisible one, the one who controls the system without needing the spotlight. This is the second principle of Omoiyari, invisible leadership, and it goes against everything you have been taught about success. We live in a world that worships visibility. Social media tells you to post every day. Business gurus tell you to network loudly. Career coaches tell you to speak up in meetings. Everyone is screaming for attention. Everyone is fighting to be seen. But here is the truth. Loud people are easy to ignore. Invisible leaders are impossible to forget. Let me explain what I mean by invisible leadership. It does not mean you hide. It does not mean you are weak or passive. It means you build systems that work so smoothly that nobody notices the friction. You become the oil in the machine. You are not the machine itself. But without you, everything breaks down. Think about air conditioning. When it works perfectly, you do not think about it. You just feel comfortable. But the moment it stops working, you notice immediately. That is invisible leadership. You create an environment so smooth that people do not see your hand in it. But the moment you step away, everything falls apart. Here is a real example. There was a manager at a Japanese company named Tanaka. He never spoke in meetings. He never took credit for ideas. He never sent long emails about his achievements. But his team was the most productive in the entire company. Projects finished on time. People were happy. Clients were satisfied. Everyone wondered how he did it. The secret was simple. Tanaka spent his time removing obstacles. If someone needed a tool, he got it before they asked. If two team members had a conflict, he solved it quietly before it became drama. If a client was confused, he clarified things in the background. He never made noise. He never demanded recognition. He just made everything easier for everyone else. After 5 years, Tanaka got promoted to director. Not because he was loud, not because he played politics, but because the CEO realized something. Every time Tanaka went on vacation, things started breaking. Deadlines were missed. Conflicts exploded. Clients complained. Tanaka was invisible, but he was holding everything together. That is the power of being an invisible leader. You do not need to be the loudest person in the room. You need to be the most essential. and you become essential by removing friction from the system. Now let me tell you why the Western approach is failing so many people. The Western model says, be visible, be aggressive, take credit, promote yourself. And yes, that works for some people, but it also creates enemies, it creates competition, it creates burnout. Because when you are always performing, you are always exhausted. Omoiyari offers a different path. It says, stop performing, start serving, not in a weak way, not in a doormat way, but in a strategic way. When you serve the system serves you back. When you make everyone else successful, you become the person they cannot afford to lose. Here is how you practice invisible leadership in real life. First, you stop trying to get credit. I know that sounds scary. We are taught that if we do not take credit, someone else will steal it. But here is the truth. Good work speaks for itself. When you consistently make things better, people notice. They might not say it out loud, but they feel it, and feeling is stronger than words. Second, you focus on systems, not spotlight. Ask yourself this question every day. What is one thing I can do today to make this environment smoother? Maybe it is organizing a messy file. Maybe it is sending a clear email so nobody is confused. Maybe it is checking in with a coworker who seems stressed. These are small actions, but small actions build trust, and trust builds power. Third, you become a problem absorber. Most people avoid problems. They pass them to someone else. They complain, they create drama. But invisible leaders absorb problems. When something goes wrong, they fix it quietly. They do not panic. They do not blame. They just handle it. And people remember who stays calm when everything is falling apart. Let me give you a modern example. Think about the best user experience designers. You probably do not know their names, but you use their work every day. When you open an app and everything just works, that is invisible leadership. The designer removed every point of confusion. They anticipated every question. They made the experience so smooth that you do not even think about it. That is mastery. Now compare that to a bad app. Buttons do not make sense. Pages load slowly. You get frustrated. You delete it. The designer tried to be creative. They tried to be different, but they forgot the most important rule. Remove friction first. Be fancy second. This applies to everything. If you are a manager, your job is not to be the star. Your job is to make your team the star. If you are an entrepreneur, your job is not to be famous. Your job is to make your customers feel understood. If you are a friend, your job is not to always talk. Your job is to make others feel heard. Here is what happens when you become an invisible leader. You build loyalty. People do not just respect you. They protect you. They defend you. They fight for you because you made their lives better without asking for anything in return. That kind of loyalty cannot be bought. It can only be earned through Omoiyari. Let me tell you about one more concept. It is called ma. In Japanese, ma means the space between things, the pause, the silence, the emptiness, and ma is just as important as the things themselves. In music, the silence between notes creates beauty. In design, the empty space makes the message clear. In leadership, the ability to step back and let others shine creates strength. Most leaders fear ma. They fear silence. They fear not being seen, so they fill every space with their voice. They take credit for everything. They make every decision. And eventually, they burn out because they are trying to be everywhere at once. Invisible leaders embrace ma. They create space for others to grow. They trust the system they built. They do not need to control everything. And because of that, they actually have more control because the system runs on its own. And when the system runs on its own, you move from being busy to being powerful. So here is your second challenge. For the next 7 days, practice invisible leadership. Do one thing every day that makes someone else's life easier, but do not tell them. Do not take credit, just do it, and watch what happens. Watch how people start to see you differently. Watch how trust builds. Watch how you become the person everyone relies on. That is the magic of being invisible. You disappear from the spotlight, but you become impossible to replace. Let me ask you one final question. Why are you stressed right now? Think about it. Really think about it. I will tell you the answer. You are stressed because you are thinking about yourself too much. Your results, your performance, your success, your failure, your reputation. It is always about you, and that is exactly what is killing your productivity. This is the third principle of Omoiyari. Egoless productivity, and it is the most powerful one. Because once you understand this, burnout becomes impossible. Here is what most people do not realize. Stress does not come from hard work. Stress comes from attachment to outcomes. You work on a project and you think, what if I fail? What if people judge me? What if this ruins my career? Your mind is not focused on the work. Your mind is focused on protecting your ego. And that split focus destroys you. Omoiyari teaches something radical. Stop focusing on your results. Start focusing on making things easier for others. When you remove yourself from the center of the equation, everything changes. The pressure disappears, the anxiety fades, and surprisingly your work gets better. Let me explain why this works. When you focus on your own success, you create resistance. You overthink. You second guess. You worry about every detail because everything feels personal. But when you focus on serving others, the work becomes simple. You ask one question, does this help them? If yes, you do it. If no, you do not. No drama, no confusion. Just clarity. Think about a doctor in an emergency room. They do not have time to worry about their reputation. They do not think about what people will say if they make a mistake. They focus on one thing, save the patient. That focus creates flow. That focus creates excellence. Because when ego steps aside, skill takes over. Now imagine you are preparing a presentation at work. If you think about yourself, your mind fills with fear. What if they do not like it? What if I look stupid? What if I mess up? That fear makes you stiff. It makes you rehearse too much. It makes you fake. But if you shift your focus and think about your audience instead, everything changes. You ask different questions. What do they need to know? What will make their job easier? How can I save them time? Suddenly, the presentation is not about you. It is about service. And service removes fear. Here is another example. Let us talk about writing. Most people struggle to write because they are worried about judgment. They think, is this good enough? Will people think I am smart? So they stare at a blank page for hours. But professional writers think differently. They think about the reader. What does the reader need right now? What question are they asking? How can I make this clear and useful? When you write for others, words flow, because ego is not blocking the way. This principle works in every area of life. If you are a salesperson, stop thinking about your commission. Start thinking about solving your customer's problem. If you are a student, stop thinking about your grades. Start thinking about how this knowledge can help others. If you are a parent, stop thinking about being perfect. Start thinking about what your child needs right now. The shift is simple but powerful. Move from me to them. Move from results to ease. Move from performance to presence. Now let me tell you what happens when you practice egoless productivity. First, your quality improves. When you stop worrying about looking good, you start focusing on being good. You pay attention to details. You listen more. You refine your work because you care about the outcome, not the credit. Second, you become faster. Ego slows you down. It makes you hesitate. It makes you seek approval. But when ego is gone, you just do the work. You do not wait for permission. You do not overthink. You trust your skills and you move forward. Third, you build stronger relationships. People can feel when you are focused on yourself. They can sense when you are performing. But they can also feel when you genuinely care about helping them. And that feeling creates loyalty. It creates trust. It creates long-term success. Let me share a story. There was a chef in Kyoto named Saito. He ran a small restaurant with only 10 seats. People traveled from all over the world to eat there. Food critics called him a genius, but Saito never thought of himself as special. In interviews, he always said the same thing. I just want people to enjoy their meal. I want them to leave feeling happy. Every dish he made was perfect, not because he wanted awards, not because he wanted fame, but because he focused entirely on the person eating. He thought about their experience, their comfort, their joy. That focus created excellence, and excellence brought success. But success was never the goal. Service was the goal. Success was just the result. That is the secret of egoless productivity. When you stop chasing success and start creating ease for others, success chases you. It has no choice. Because people always reward those who make their lives better. So how do you practice this in your daily life? Start with one simple rule. Before you do any task, ask yourself this question. Who is this for, and how does it help them? Not how does it help me, not how does it make me look good. but how does it serve them? If you are writing an email, think about the reader. Are you making it easy for them to understand? Are you saving them time? Or are you just showing off your vocabulary? If you are in a meeting, think about the group. Are you adding value? Are you solving a problem? Or are you just talking to hear your own voice? This one question will transform your productivity because it removes all the noise. It removes the doubt. It removes the fear. You are not performing anymore. You are serving. And service is simple. Here is the second practice. Celebrate other people's wins more than your own. This sounds small, but it is powerful. When your coworker succeeds, be the first to congratulate them. When your friend achieves something, celebrate loudly. When your team hits a goal, give them credit. This does two things. First, it trains your brain to find joy outside of your own ego. Second, it builds goodwill, and goodwill always comes back to you. The third practice is to detach from outcomes. Do your best work and let go. You cannot control how people react. You cannot control if you get the promotion or the sale or the recognition. But you can control your effort. You can control your intention. So focus on what you can control. Give your best, serve with full heart, and then release it. Trust that good work will be rewarded eventually. Maybe not today, maybe not this month, but eventually. This is the hardest part of egoless productivity. Letting go. We are taught to fight for credit. We are taught to protect our reputation. But Omoiyari teaches us something deeper. Your reputation is not built by what you say about yourself. It is built by what you do for others. And what you do for others speaks louder than any words. Here is what I want you to understand. Egoless productivity is not about being weak. It is not about letting people walk over you. It is about being so confident in your value that you do not need external validation. You do your work, you serve with excellence, and you trust that the right people will notice. When you remove ego, you remove the heaviest weight you carry. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop worrying about failure. You stop performing for an invisible audience. You just show up. You do the work, you help people, and you go home with peace. That peace is rare. Most successful people are miserable. They have money, they have status, but they have no peace because their ego is always hungry, always demanding more, always afraid of losing what they have. But when you practice egoless productivity, you build something different. You build inner stability. You build quiet confidence. You build a life where success does not own you. You own it. So here is your third challenge. For the next 7 days, remove yourself from the center. In every task, ask who you are serving and how you can help them. Do not think about credit. Do not think about recognition. Just serve. Just work. Just give. And at the end of 7 days, notice how you feel. Notice how people respond to you. Notice how your work improves. That is egoless productivity. That is Omoiyari in action. So let me bring this all together. Omoiyari is not about being nice. It is not about being soft. It is about being strategic. It is about understanding that real power does not come from taking. It comes from giving. Real success does not come from being loud. It comes from being essential. Real productivity does not come from chasing results. It comes from serving with focus. You learned 3 frameworks today. First, anticipatory intelligence, the ability to solve problems before people even mention them. This makes you irreplaceable. Second, invisible leadership, the power to control systems without needing the spotlight. This makes you unforgettable. Third, egoless productivity, the freedom that comes from removing yourself from the center. This makes you unstoppable. These are not just ideas. These are weapons, tools you can use starting today. And the beautiful thing is, nobody else is using them. Everyone else is still playing the old game, fighting for attention, screaming for recognition, burning themselves out for temporary wins. But you now know a different path, a higher path, a path where selflessness is not weakness. It is a high-level strategy. Now here is the daily practice I promised you. It takes less than 5 minutes, but it will change everything. Every morning before you start your day, ask yourself 3 questions. First, who will I interact with today? Second, what might they need from me? Third, how can I make one thing easier for them? Write down one action, just one, and do it without announcing it. Do it quietly. Do it consistently. and watch how your life transforms in 30 days. This practice trains your brain to think outward instead of inward. It builds the habit of anticipatory intelligence. It strengthens your invisible leadership, and it removes ego from your daily work. 5 minutes, 3 questions, 1 action. That is all it takes. Remember this. The world rewards people who remove friction, not people who create noise. You do not need to be the loudest to be the most successful. You need to be the most thoughtful, the most observant, the most helpful. That is Omoiyari. That is the Japanese art of selfless success. And now you have the blueprint. If this video changed how you think about success, leave a comment below and tell me which framework hit you the hardest. Was it anticipatory intelligence, invisible leadership, or egoless productivity? I read every comment, and I want to know what resonated with you. And if you want more content like this, more ancient wisdom applied to modern problems, hit that subscribe button, because we are just getting started. Now go out there and practice Omoiyari. Remove friction, serve with focus, build in silence, and watch how success finds you when you stop chasing it. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.